All right, so we are on to Unit 4. This is going to be a very short unit. We're going to get it done in a week because now that you've been working on fractions, percents, you will be able to get your brain around decimals really easily. Okay, so 4.1 and 4.2 notes we're going to do right now. So, and we're working in decimals this whole section. So, okay, so a decimal is a number that shows tenths, hundredths, and thousandths and more. Multiples of 100, right? So you're always going, oops, let's try that again. You're always going times 10, okay? Multiples of 10. Make that a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay, so the decimal here, let's see, the decimal 3.25 has 3 digits, 3 and a 2 and a 5. 3 is a whole number, and 0.25 means it's less than a whole number. So if I was to write the fractional equivalent of that, I would have 3 and 25 over 100, which we already have learned how to do. Okay? This form is called standard form. And if we say that out loud, we say 3 and 25 hundredths, which in fractional form is exactly the same thing, right? So we've got right there. So for place value tables show the value of each digit in a decimal. So what you really need to remember is that anything to the left of the decimal point is going to be multiples of 10 increasing, and anything to the right is going to be multiples of 10 decreasing, right? Getting smaller and smaller. To the left is going to be increasing. Always think of decimals in terms of money, and then it usually makes sense, okay? So there are no tenths in this number, so you need that placeholder. If you have something like 298.04, that means there are 4 hundredths, but you need that placeholder right here. That's important. You need to have that, okay? So if I write 298.04 in expanded form, it means that I have 200 plus 90 plus 8 plus 0.04, which I could also write as 4 tenths, right? Or sorry, excuse me, 4 100ths. So that means 4 100ths. Remember that however many, we went over this in the fractions unit, but let's kind of reiterate it again, is that however many digits you have to the right of the decimal is how many zeros you have in the bottom when you write that as a fraction. So 0.04 means you have 1 and 2 zeros on the bottom, and you have 4 on the top. Okay, so that's 4 hundredths. All right, and in word form we would say 298 and 4 hundredths. And that's all of 4.1. Easy, right? So let's go into 4.2. So we can also look at decimals on a number line. And we're going to do this first one counting by ones. Okay, so if we count by ones and start with 0, we would have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on, right? If we count by tenths, we're decreasing those each by dividing by 10. So what that really does is instead of the decimal being on this side, it's going to pull it over on this side. So when we count by tenths, we would still start with, oh, I hope some of you realize what I just did. What did I do? That should start, no, actually I was okay. I was thinking that I should have started one step down, but we're okay. So this was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So the next one is going to be 0 again, but 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. And then by hundredths, it would be one step even smaller. So 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. Okay? Now, you will have some con skills that will ask you, what is this point, for example, right in here? And what you need to remember is that you can always add zeros to the right of those numbers, and it doesn't change the value of those numbers. So if I'm asking for the point right here, I'm asking for the number right there that is right in between 0.10 and 0.20, which would be 0.15. And if you take the decimals completely away from it, you know that 10 and 20, if I go right in between 10 and 20, I get to 15. The difference between 10 and 15 is 5. The difference between 15 and 20 is 5. So it's the same distance in between those. Okay? And that's it for 4-1 and 4-2. Simple.